Welcome to Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan, the golf instruction podcast that helps you take control of your game. Now, here's your host, the founder of Par Breakers Golf Academy and certified Golf Channel Swing Fix instructor, Bernard Sheridan.
Iain, thanks so much for stopping by at Breaking Par, the podcast. We're so glad to have you as a guest today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you're down at Bishopsgate, yes?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you do there and what your program is about.
Well, at Bishopsgate, we've been going for around a year now. And when we got together, we tried to create a certain kind of coach or individual. We tried to attract a certain kind of coach or individual that believed there was more to golf than just swinging the club. So we've brought a team together where they have lots of different passions and slightly different thoughts and slightly different beliefs to the standard trend in the golf industry. And what we want to do, we don't want to create golfers or just golf swingers, or as one of the coaches would say, range rats. So we don't want people standing on the range hitting ball after ball after ball after ball, and then going into competition and breaking down. We really want to educate our students and put them in performance situations almost on a daily basis to allow them to learn what it takes to perform to their peak, to get good at this sport. If you think of basketballers, they practice on the basketball court. If you think of soccer players, they spend all their time on the soccer pitch. Tennis players on the tennis court, and golfers on the golf range. And that doesn't make sense. That's not the environment that you're going to have to perform in. So at Bishopsgate, we've really tried to expose our students to the performance side of golf and the performance environment.
So I know that I've looked at your history and you've worked with Vision 54 in the past, correct?
I've not worked personally with Vision 54. I use Vision 54, I guess, as a mentor.
Okay.
I'm originally, you've probably detected from the accent, I'm originally from England. And I was working in business psychology and sales. I was heavily qualified in neuro-linguistic programming, and I started to edge into the world of junior golf probably 8-9 years ago. The way I guess I've accelerated my career and accelerated my own learning is by modeling. So as soon as I decided that this was a passion of mine and I wanted to get into it and basically make a living from it, I started to model the best. So I reached out to a lot of professionals in England. I reached out to a great sports psychologist called Brian Hemmings, who took time out of his own life to mentor me. And then things evolved and the Leap Golf that I ran in England grew, and I moved to America. Then all of a sudden, when I was in America, no mentors. So I spent my first, I think, 5, 6, 7 months reaching out to people, trying to find mentors. And for me, huge mentors of mine, I didn't know them so well or wasn't exposed to them so much when I was in England, but now I've come to America, I get the chance to see them a little bit more and reach out to them, and we share best practice and speak on email, and it's Vision 54. I would love to work with Vision 54, but at the minute I'm trying to learn and grow through a lot of the stuff that they do.
Sure. So and a lot of what they do is very similar to, or what I've seen on your Facebook page there, some of the things that you're working with and getting the student going through a process more what they have to go through to be able to execute a shot and to be able to play their best and to be able to mentally be in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I didn't know that at the time. I actually went on the Vision 54 course, extremely good course that they run, and I did find there was a huge overlap between our work. And then I realized we share the same beliefs. We actually read a lot of the same literature, and, you know, beliefs drive behavior. So we share the same beliefs. So actually we kind of coach in a very similar fashion. Currently, they're the best at what they do. They've been around for years. Pia with her experience with Annika and the Solheim Cup. So I've not reached that level yet. So I'm trying to draw on their experiences to learn and grow. But yeah, it was pure coincidence that we do have similar coaching methods at first. But then I realised we really do share the same vision for golf and values. And I think that's what brings the way we coach together.
Yeah, I think that a lot of players or I don't want to say players, but instructors or people who are in this business and have similar type visions of the way that they feel things should be handled or done with their students. I know for me personally, I was almost on the exact same page as Bobby Clampett with Impact Zone Golf. So then I became associated with him because it was so much more. And again, like you just said, he was at a much higher level than I was. So I've learned a tremendous amount from him and have applied it to what I've done, taken it a step further. Even though a lot of the things that he applied, I was doing before I even read his book or found out about that he was even doing instruction.
Yeah.
So which is similar what happened with you, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I try and almost take it to another level. I've now bought books to try and disprove my theories and philosophies on golf. I'm not necessarily now searching for mentors to help me learn and grow, or not necessarily searching for a network to put me in the right places. I'm searching for the people that disagree with me because I want to become educated in their beliefs. And then, you know what? If someone really sells me on something, if someone can really drill down in the science, the data, and their experiences and tell me, no, this, then I'm going to listen and I'm going to evolve. It's happened a fair bit, actually, since I've been here. I have tweaked and changed a few philosophies. But the crazy thing is, the more I seek out these people, it doesn't disprove. For me, it actually only reinforces that my views on elite performance or creating athletes are powerful, if you like, and on the right lines.
Yeah, it kind of reaffirms your faith in what you're doing and actually makes what you're doing a lot more concrete because it really is can't be disproven as of such. So you're taking a lot of these students. And when you have them, because I know you're working with a lot of elite juniors, what is your process? And let us know so that for players who are out there who are junior players who are interested in finding out how to find programs that are elite programs like at Bishopsgate, or if they don't have the opportunity to go down into the Florida area, what could they be looking for in maybe some other program that kind of covers similar to the type things that you do, and what is really the structure? Because I know that you're probably working out on the golf course, and then you're working on, there's probably a certain amount of fitness involved, and then there's might be mental things going on, and meditation maybe, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm kind of guessing. But I know that when I look at elite programs like what you guys have down there, a lot of those things are covered, especially when when you're molding young players to be tour players. Then that's really some of those, all those things have to touch base. So what are the main things that you guys work on? Like, run us through a typical day in the life of what's going on with students who are at Bishopsgate.
Well, I think maybe as opposed to doing a day, I'll try and take you through the process of when they arrive to maybe the end of the first semester.
That'd be great.
When a student arrives, it's my experience that a lot of golf academies, they'll just assess the golf swing. At Bishopsgate, we take a more holistic approach than that, and we first of all assess how they can perform. So it's quite a rigorous process. It's 2 weeks. We call it assessment weeks. And the first thing they'll do is they'll play 18 holes of golf. And let's see you score. And then we'll video the swing during that, because that's their golf swing. The golf swing that they show you on a range when they know a camera's there, that's not their golf swing.
Yes.
That's a different environment. The thoughts and the feelings that are going through your brain into your body are different than when you're on the golf course trying to get your ball in the hole. So we assess students in the performance environment initially, see what score they're capable of shooting, watch them play. I would personally be responsible for maybe the timing of routines, videoing of routines, and I'll pick one hole of the 18 and I'll ask students to think out loud all the way down the hole. And that's how I get the mental assessment data. After that, then there will be physical assessments. And that's not done by any of the golf coaches. We have specialists in that area, specialists in maybe biomechanics and specialists in, TPI, people that can screen the students and spot physical limitations. And then they'll be given a workout program. As well as that, they will then, after the initial assessments, they'll go through a putting assessment, a chipping assessment, a pitching assessment, and a full swing assessment. Now, the putting, chipping, and pitching, they'll be exposed again to a game, to a challenge. So it might be a chipping and putting one, they might have to play par 18. So 9 holes from different places around the green, and you have to try and get up and down. And then again, they're working under pressure. It simulates and recreates the performance environment, and we can see how they react when there's an outcome on the line. Also, they'll be filmed. And then we'll use technologies like K-Vest, TrackMan or Flight Scope, Sam Putt Lab to get even more data. Now, that data isn't necessarily important for the student. That's more important for the coach to diagnose. What's important for the student is, after assessment week, this is where you're at, physically, mentally, technically, and how many shots it takes you to get around 18 holes, your performance, and this is your plan. So here's the one thing that you need to work on mentally. You'll do this with Iain. Here's the one thing you need to work on physically. You'll do this maybe with Zach. And here's the one thing you need to work on performance-wise. You'll do this with Matthew. And your physical limitations are this, this, and this area. And this has this impact on your swing. So you're going to work on this. And as the student progresses in each area, it's our hope that their performance then increases. So every day, the students will work 3 times a week on the fitness, everyday performance, whenever the coach feels correct, their technique and the technical side of the game. And hopefully all of this comes together to create increased performance.
Nice. Very all-encompassing program. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So when there's juniors there, like, what is the average age that attends, and is there academic that they're doing too in other words, because if they're still in school, then it's almost like it's a prep type thing, right? So in other words, they're going to school, and then at this time they're coming and they're working on their game, and they're getting different assessments at different times. And so how does that all work?
It really is amazing. I wish I was 14 again, so I could go back and go through it. It's phenomenal. A typical day, so to go back to your initial question, a typical day, student gets on the bus at 7:05 in the morning from the academy, and they drive to Montverde. Montverde School is #1 in the nation for basketball and soccer. So it has a huge sporting foundation. Ben Simmons, he's just gone to LSU. I think he's going to be the #1 draft pick in a couple of years. He was attending Montverde. So really there's a good buzz around the Montverde Academy about sport. Once they're at school, they sit 5 classes, and then the school bus picks them up around about 12:40 and brings them back to the academy. If you're not a part of the golf academy or not involved in sport, you would stay in school till 3:30 at Montverde. But our students, they do a slightly reduced timetable, and they get let out early to then come and practice. So they'll arrive back to the academy around about 1:15, they'll have already had dinner and they'll get ready to come and play golf, come and practice, come and train, however you want to phrase it. They'll meet their coach on the range, the course. Sometimes we take them to Bella Collina, which is an amazing Faudo design course near the school, and they'll train till 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then they have food on site. There's then study hall for the people that want it or need it because their grades are low. And then lights out at 10 and repeat. And then Friday, Saturday and Sunday, there's the option to practice golf. A lot of students will be playing in tournaments. But as well as that, we have a fantastic housing team that years and years of experience in junior academies, tennis and golf, that will organise trips to Disneyland, to Orlando. You know, it's extremely important that we give the students a rest. We allow them to unwind. We have to be, if not equally, maybe more so focused on developing the person rather than the golfer. I think that's a huge thing for a junior golf academy, and especially me as the director of mental performance that I have to be aware of. So it really is all-encompassing, an amazing lifestyle that provides education, great facility that we're based on, and gives the student time to practice their sport, their passion, and then enables studying, everything. It's the whole package. It's phenomenal.
What's the average amount of juniors that you have in one semester in the academy?
It varies a lot. I think we're predicted next year, by the start of next year, so the start of the next semester, we're going to have around about 70 full-time students. The age range will be from 12 or 13 up to maybe 19. Now, 12 to 18 will go to school, and we then run a player development program where they can do full-time golf, and they practice in the morning as well as the afternoon. They don't have to go to school. They'll have already graduated and are perhaps trying to fine-tune their golf skills to get that scholarship they initially missed out on graduation.
Sure.
So
now, these older players, are they all, or is every single one of your players, are they all staying on site, or do some of them live off site and then come in, or
yes,
is everything just on site no matter what the age?
That's a great question. Of the 70 that will be here next year, I would predict 65, 66, 67 will stay on site. The housing's really nice, you know, big condos. Obviously, the students, they have fun as well, living with their friends. There are some students that their parents, maybe their mother and father, or their auntie and uncle will own a place nearby. So they'll live with them, and they'll go to school and they'll come to the academy and train and leave. But a huge majority of full-time junior golfers will live on site. It's the touring professionals that come to see Kevin Smeltz and other coaches. They're the ones that tend to live off site. Yeah,
sure. Kevin does a great job too. I know Kevin. I've actually sat in on some of his lectures, and he really has a lot of insight into juniors, and he's a great coach. And I think too that the way it's set up for students to be able to be there all the time, who aspire to be tour professionals, that's a much better situation for them, because now they know what it's like to be part of something and working on things on a daily basis, and then with the other type things that you guys do, recreational and things like that. That's really great, and it gives them that decompression, and then also the camaraderie of being with other players. Even though we see that in sport, there's not as much camaraderie as there is in a team sport, because it's an individual sport. But there's still, I think, there's always in any sport that kind of camaraderie that makes it so much more enjoyable to be involved in.
Absolutely. I mean, it's extremely rare that if the students that maybe don't perform so well in round one in tournaments, and go off, say, 10 at 7 in the morning, when their friend or their colleague is in contention going down the home straight, it's very, very rare that they don't go and watch. We had Marcus Montenegro won Golf Week this year, and honestly, every student in the academy and every coach was out watching him play amazing golf down the stretch. We had a young player from England called Tom Broxup. He won a major for the major on the Hurricane Tour. He was leading the final round by 10 shots, and every student still went out to the 17th and 18th and clapped him. He had an eagle putt on the 18th, and everyone was willing this eagle putt in, even though he'd already won by 10 shots. So you actually do get the sense that here it is a team sport, and they train in their groups, and we play a lot of intergroup competitions. So, for example, Jonathan Yarwood's group might play Matthew Cook's group, and it might be foursomes or a Ryder Cup style tournament over 2 days, and then they do build that camaraderie, that friendship. And they also build it with their coaches. I actually believe golf is a team sport. I don't think there's many golfers that would, on the tour, that would fare well without their caddy, that would fare well without their fitness coach, that would fare well without, they're all part of a team. If you look at Lewis Hamilton in Formula One, he wouldn't do so well without the guys changing his tyres. I see golf like that. So I actually believe golf is a team sport. The caddy at the weekend on the Swinging Skirts tournament, listening to what he was saying to the young girl from Canada, some of the advice he was giving her was amazing. Hearing Jordan Spieth's caddy talk to him throughout the Masters, listening to some of the pearls of wisdom he was provided was amazing. And that's why I believe golf's a team sport, but definitely in Bishopsgate, it does create that team ethos even more so.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, and I agree with you that I think a lot of people, when they start, and what I meant was, I didn't mean to say that golf is not a team sport. I think that it does take a team for a player to be successful. There's no doubt about that. I also believe that a lot of programs, though, are not always set up like a team.
Yeah,
and that's where the difference between a program like what's at Bishopsgate and what you guys are doing down there. It's the type of thing that if a junior wants to be involved and be able to work at a top level and move to a top level, these are the type of programs that they should be seeking out. If it's not Bishopsgate, then some other program that's available. I know that there's not a ton of them out there. There are some, but I know that there's not a ton of them out there. That's a big reason why I wanted to have you on the show, was because I know that you're involved in something that is really a wonderful program, and that can really make a huge difference in not only juniors' lives, but in getting them to help them achieve their dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, the make a big difference in their lives. The memories that they're going to create here will last them a lifetime. Same for me. I came from the more traditional model in England. I worked as a mental and a performance coach alongside a few coaches back home in England, European tour coaches, and then young aspiring PGA professionals. And that you do struggle to create that team ethos, that vibe when you're only seeing someone for 2 or 3 days a week, 2 or 3 hours a week. Here, when you see the students every day, you become a huge part of their life. You make that transition from being a coach to being a mentor and someone that they're going to look up to and someone that they can model. So if you're having fun, if you're focused, if you're in a positive state of mind, guess what? The students are going to model that. And if you can create that team ethos, that team vibe, again, the students are going to model that. And I think that's how we grow the game. 400,000 people left the sport last year, and that saddens me. So maybe we need to look more at fun, innovation, creating an environment where students enjoy, rather than looking at how many shots it took you to get in the hole and where the club's travelling around your body. The students will self-discover that for themselves as time progresses. So Bishopsgate and other golf academies, we all do a fantastic job of trying to create that environment and grow the game, yes.
So give us just a little bit of insight into this OSVEA, because that's really, and that's something else that I wanted to touch base on before we run out of time here, because that I think is something that even if you're not a junior player who's trying to move to a tour level, if you're an average everyday golfer, this is something that is huge and could really be applied by those players to be able to get better. So tell us a little bit about that.
When it initially started, I would assess their game by asking them to think out loud while they play. And what I would look for when they're on the tee box or looking at a shot, did they assess their shot options, and did they select specific targets, a specific strategy, a specific shot shape for that shot? And when they assess the options, did they look at all the variables, the wind, the lie? Have they got their A game, the B game? What are their capabilities? Is the ball, where's the bad miss? Where's the good miss? When they looked at the shot, did they assess their options and then make a selection? Often in a junior golfer, no, just 150 yards, just pull the club and hit 150 yards. So that was the first thing I would assess. That actually fires off the left side of the brain. Then I would assess the visualization process. Does a student enter an imaginary world of see, hear, and feel? Taste and smell can even be added into that mix. Often in golf, the junior golfers that I was assessing, no. Very non-purposeful practice swing, very limited use of imagination to try and see the shot. And that actually means that all this information, if they did take it in, it's not going to transition to the correct side of the brain to drive movement and drive the golf swing. So I looked at, does a player go through their options? Do they select shots and specific targets? Do they visualize? And then when they execute, do they, and we call it at Bishopsgate, do they kill the chimp? So we all have these innate survival mechanisms that we're designed to feel fear. We're designed to get scared. It keeps us alive, stops us driving our cars through red lights.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it screws up our golf. So do students have an ability to kill the chimp, kill this inner voice? And then once they've looked at those once I'd assessed those 4 components of a golf shot, can they accept the outcome? And by accepting the outcome, if you're getting angry, traveling in the past, you change your physiology, you're now not at the optimum emotional state, you're going to have attentional shrinkage for your next shot, the process can't repeat. So rather than get angry and frustrated, let's learn, let's grow, and let's put it right. And that's the acceptance phase. So OSVEA was how I assess students. And then Matthew Cook, who I ran Leap Golf with, one day he just said, oh, I've looked at this kid's Osphere. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, this kid's Osphere? Oh, the Osphere routine that you created. I was like, oh, that's a great name. Yeah, the Osphere routine that I created. And, you know, it started off as just an assessment sheet. So then we got big plastic Perspex letters cut and whiteboards, and we started to get students to write down and build their own Osphere routines. And now we train each component, OSVEA, in very different ways, but in ways that allows a student to discover their own best E or their own best V. The way I visualize a shot, I work with Chris Hansen, who's a European tour golfer and challenge tour golfer, and he can't see a shot. He can't see a thing. So it's no good me telling him to see a flight tracer. You know, I don't know about yourself. You might see everything and feel nothing, and I might be auditory driven. So the days of telling a student what to do are over, and the OSVEA, the way that I coach it, allows a student to self-discover what they need to do to actually create their own optimum performance and create their own zone. So it was crazy how it evolved from an assessment sheet into actually now a whole coaching philosophy with a ton of science and data to back it up. And it's been great. It's enjoyable. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, and when I saw it, I use a lot of those type things with my students too. And it's true. It's a whole process, and if parts of those process are missing, then it's really hard for a player to play at their optimal level.
Absolutely.
But if they are there, then they can actually on every shot. And I really like the acceptance part, because once you accept something, you already know it's over. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
You have to move on and accept whatever the result was, and then just not worry about it, and then just make. And then when you get to the ball, this whole process starts all over again.
Absolutely. I think the golf industry has been guilty in the past. It is changing, and there's amazing coaches out there, but it's been guilty of only really coaching the execution phase, and maybe not coaching it in a manner that is conducive to peak performance. It kind of or some people have been guilty of coaching it where the club's going to go in positions, and that can create motor pattern impedance. So as well as only really looking at the E phase of Ozsphere, the execution phase of a golf shot, it's not really been taught with much freedom and flow. So I think taking a more holistic approach, taking a step back and thinking, let a young junior golfer swing it how they want, they'll work it out, but let's teach them to accept what happens. And let's teach them to actually assess a golf shot before they swing. If you're going to miss the green, what side do you want to miss it on? Where's the wind? If the ball's on an uphill lie, which way is it likely to go? Enable them to learn all those things. And it's my belief, actually, that the swing mechanics will naturally evolve through that. So I think Ozsphere I kind of looked at maybe components that weren't being taught as effectively as they could have been. And I started to try or attempt to teach them and coach them in that manner.
It's an excellent thing. It really is. So for anyone who wants to come to Bishop's Gate and learn and get involved in the program, what is the best way or that they can contact you guys and get involved in that?
So you can email me at Iain, IAINH, at bgga.com. So IainH at bgga.com. You can check out the website and put an inquiry through there. We have some great guys that do the tours here. Jeff, Adam and Andreas, they're amazing and they'll make you feel at home straight away. If you pop an inquiry through the website, which is www.bgga.com, and just throw it our way, or send, even if it's a coach. We're now starting to look a little bit more at training coaches. So anyone who's interested in Ozsphere, if they want to be trained or receive some of the materials, they can email me. I'm not one to protect intellectual property. I certainly haven't reinvented the wheel. I believe the knowledge was the golf industry's already. I'm willing to give all my work away and all my, I wouldn't like to call it expertise, but my passion. Sure. Away to anyone who asks.
Well, you can put me on the list. You can put me on the list.
Cool.
Because I'm always looking at studying everything and anything that I can that's going to help me better help my students. And that's a big reason why we have this show, is to have guys like you who can give their insight and we can help others. I mean, I agree with that. Intellectual property, it can be shared under certain circumstances, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I've just launched an Ozsphere site, and the Ozsphere site is designed as like my role here. I do coach students, but I also coach the coaches. So all of our coaches are going to become proficient in using Ozsphere. So I've just launched a website that has all videos and information on linked to Ozsphere. It's an extremely long web link, but it's www.osveaperformance.wix.com Iain Highfield, and Ian is IAIN. But I'll send you the link, and you can perhaps attach it to this at the end, and anyone can jump on that, ask me questions. I'm always on Twitter at Osphere Coach, and there's a Facebook page, Osphere Performance. And I just put all my information. I've just started creating visual essays. I just put it out there. I think I'm a bit of a geek. I just really enjoy. I'm not a smart guy, so when I read and study, I have to break it down into pictures and models and talk it through in my own mind. I'm not an academic, but that actually seems to be a strength because I start to understand it and think that I can now communicate with a 12-year-old fine because I have the brain of a 12-year-old. So all the stuff on there is really quite basic and simplified for me to understand and everyone else. So I'll throw you that address, and I'll send you a copy of the training manual as well to have a look over.
That'd be great. I appreciate you so much. I know you're a very busy gentleman, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today and sharing your knowledge with all of our listeners and viewers. So until we meet again, what we always say here at Breaking Par is try to keep it in the short grass. I'll try.
I played a little bit with my dad for the first time in a long time, and I wasn't keeping it in the short grass, so maybe I'll try and take that advice.
I know it's a lot more difficult when you're involved in the business to even play. I know that I don't get to play very much at all. I'm too busy helping others, but that's okay. I mean, it's that helping part is so enjoyable and rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, great. Absolutely. So be well and take care.
Thanks so much, Bernard. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you want to play better golf? Of course you do. Well, here are 3 easy ways to do it. 1. Open your smartphone and look for the podcast app. 2. Open the podcast app and search Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan. 3. Subscribe and never miss an episode of great golf instructor interviews from around the world. A new guest every week, like David Ledbetter, Brian Manzella, Dr. Sashow McKenzie, James Siekman, just to name a few. Hear their insight as they deliver their wisdom of the game. Take control of your game. Subscribe today. Your game will thank you for it.